3, 2, 1. We're back, and hopefully that back didn't crack because it does every week. Something about that back just gets it. But no, we got another guest in the house going to be joining us at the Arnold Sports Festival.
Yeah, baby.
In 2 weeks. We'll
11
be there.
days.
By the time this comes out,
we'll have already been a day.
We'll be in single digits by the time this comes out.
That's awesome.
We're 11 days in a wake up.
11 days from
Today,
when we leave.
right now.
Nice. See, that's awesome.
Wait, I even made a timer.
Oh boy.
I found an app or a page
Countdown
or whatever, and it tells you like down to the second.
Well, we got to leave it.
If we're leaving at noon, 12 days, 6 hours, 47 minutes.
Yeah, we might be leaving at like 10:30 because the check-in's until 6 on Thursday, so we got to get in there. I just sent in all the badge requests for Adam, Kelsey, Vince, myself, and our guest, Curtis Barker, in the house. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I love it, man. Introduce yourself. Let us know a little about you. Yeah, it'd be great.
All right. Well, I'm Curtis Barker. Been friends with Vince for close to 35 years, maybe a little bit more. That just puts me,
awesome.
the oldest one in the room, which is completely fine.
About time somebody's older than me.
Yes, finally.
I live in Effingham. My daughter plays every sport imaginable, and that's what drew me to the podcast.
Love it, man. Cool. That's awesome. So for you, like listening to the podcast, how's it changed kind of your mindset or the way that you operate kind of since you started listening?
I have similar stories to basically everybody in the room, little piece of
Sure.
everybody. I was basically lost, and Vince had mentioned that you guys had this venture that you guys were going to start, and hope that it worked out. Started listening to it, and take a piece of every episode and just use the drive to start my journey again. Had one journey and then lost it due to some bad situations, and then found my motivation, and here I am now.
Nice.
Because it was about, how long have you and Chuck and I been talking? 6 months?
Yeah,
roughly
6-7 months.
Prior to leaving this, or just after
No,
we started?
like since we had started, and Chuck had reached out and let me know like, hey, Curtis is in a bad way, and Curtis, like most guys, just a proud guy, wants to just keep it on his chest and whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't want everybody knowing his business, but Chuck, when he had reached out to Chuck, and Chuck was like, hey, like we need to help him, like he's struggling. So reached out to me, and then I reached out to both of them. It was like, hey guys, here, look, this is what our community does. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna build each other up, and since then, I mean, you were probably at your heaviest when that started, at your heaviest, and at your lowest.
Yep.
And we've just daily check-ins. How you doing? You know, celebrating wins. You know, when we got tough times, like, hey guys, I'm struggling with this. We just kind of kept going, and you're down how much now?
85 pounds.
Woo!
Wow.
85 big boy pounds. That's awesome.
So where did you start and where are you at?
Was at 309, and
Let's go.
now
Respect.
I'm at I was at 222 last time I checked.
Wow.
Let's go.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So what would
309
you...
is a sweet number, man.
Brings you back, doesn't it? Takes you back to the glory days, doesn't it?
I know,
Yeah, episode 58, baby.
I listened back and I was like, that's very coincidental.
That's why.
Yes. I was,
Divine prevention right
Yeah,
there.
that's
sir.
good. That's
Yeah.
the number. That's the number that you get
The
to,
old
and you're
glory
like,
days.
oh, can't see 10. Yeah. Oh
No.
Yeah.
We get down to 10. We better get back on program.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, a 309 I can handle. 310. Well, now we've got a problem. Yeah, we pushed it.
Looking down a bridge.
Yeah. All right. We're done now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the magic number. So if you're at like 287 right now, you got like 23 pounds, 33 pounds before you got to get it together. Okay.
That's funny.
Maybe don't take my advice. Get it together today.
So Curtis, what was probably the catalyst? I mean, obviously, give us a little bit of a, within reason, your background prior to you like flipping the switch, and then talk to us a little bit, maybe walking us through just everything from the time you flipped that switch to like really just kept driving you.
Okay. Well, I would say 2005. I was just unmotivated and had started to get heavy. I think I got up to like 287 at that point. Then something just snapped then, and I started working out. And I did it by myself for the longest time. I knew Vince had lifted not as regularly as me, but I knew that it was something that he wanted to get into. So about then, we had started working out together, and then we joined or started a little workout group. He would come over to Effingham and lift with me. I'd come to Mattoon and lift with him. We got to the point where I was down to around 212.
Wow.
So at that point, started doing Tough Mudders, and we went to the Arnold, 3 years in a row? Something like that, 4 years in a row?
You went 3, I went 2, because you went with Sean 1 year, just the two of you. It was a Friday night, you guys took off.
Just took off. It was out of the wind.
Yeah, and that's been about 10, 11 years ago, because that was when we got to meet Dana and Rob and all that stuff. And speaking on that, when that time was going on, Curtis was there so like I've been there for him this time. He was there for me that time, because about that time was when my dad had his accident, and it was one of those, hey, I need a lift.
Yeah.
And like we went in, and I think we did chest and back that day, and it was one of those, like, you walked out and I almost had like tears in my eyes, because it was just so like, whew.
Yeah.
There was that weight I needed. I just needed somebody to be there with me, and
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah, those are good.
That's cool.
Yeah, those are one of my favorite memories. Like you'll go back on the the old Facebook memories or whatever, and you'll see Vince post like was just in Effingham, had a killer workout, really needed it. It's one of those things.
That's awesome.
So after that, we went to I did Tough Mudders, wanted to do Spartans, things like that. About 10 years ago, my mother unexpectedly passed away.
Yeah.
So then. After that, there was just lack of motivation. There was no drive, no nothing. Started to lose myself again. Started just to become, the funny fat guy that everybody thought was funny, and just kept that on for the longest time. Then, one day, I just started looking in the mirror and knew that I didn't like what I looked at, and I knew that I couldn't ask my family to give me 100% if I wasn't giving them 100%.
Good.
So then that's about the time that I finally broke down and reached out, and like you said, Chuck kind of grabbed me and said, let's get Vince involved, and then from there it's just been
3 Musketeers.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think it just speaks to the importance of community, and for men having a community, people that can call you out, that's not just, like I think a lot about Vince's story, and not that he didn't have people around him, because he had you and Chuck and others, but I always go back to when I was in college. Our chaplain talked about the fact that when his dad passed away, his brother was an alcoholic, and when his dad passed away at the funeral, his brother just broke down, and he was like, hey, like, what's going on? And he's like, all your friends came. He's like, and none of mine did. And he was like, well, who are your friends? And he's like, well, I got tons of friends. And he started to realize that all of his friends were the ones that he would go to the bar with after work and drink with and party with. And our chaplain, Bill, was saying, you've got drinking buddies, and then you have, like, brothers. And he's like, your brothers are there for you. Your drinking buddies don't want to be there when things are tough, because it's not fun. It's not... and so it was this wake-up call to his brother, like, man, I have not surrounded myself by anybody that really cares about me. They just care about, I'm just in their environment. And so as long as I'm in their environment, they'll accept me. But as soon as I need them to, like, come to me or come to my rescue, if it's not on a bar stool, they don't care. And that was just, hearing your story, like, the importance of having people that, like, will come meet you where you are, or see that, like, hey, you're not where you want to be. And so from that standpoint, like that external motivation is great to have people look out for you and hold you accountable. But at some point in 85 pounds, it has to be your decision. You know, nobody can will you to lose 85 pounds. So how have you found like this new internal motivation, or what's kind of sparked that or continued that?
Well, it goes. I know it sounds funny, but it goes right along with the podcast. You know, you have an athletic daughter that does, you know, everything. You know, she quit softball now, so I will. That's the first time I've said that out loud and not cried. But basketball, volleyball, she does club volleyball. So using her as motivation is a lot. Like, I can't expect her to have dreams of playing at the next level if I'm just sitting around being, you know, a couch potato or whatever. So I decided that if I want her to show me the drive and know what hard work is to get that, you know, she wants a scholarship. She's told us that for many years, which is awesome. The weirdest thing. But, you know, being 13 and telling you, hey, this is what I want to do, it's like, okay, so I knew that I had to show her what hard work was and not allow her just to think, hey, me being, you know, 5'9", 5'10" at 13 is going to be my superpower. She has to work at it.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And that drive too, like it goes back to like to have dads that are able to do things alongside you and to say, hey, let's put in this work together. Like, I'm going to the gym, I'm working, and I'm not trying to get a scholarship. Like, I'm just trying to be the best me for you. Is going to show her like, okay, well, Dad's not just sitting on the couch. Like, he's doing things. And yeah, because it goes back to, there's a ton of coaches out there, like, not to hate on coaches, but I love the coaches that are like, you got to get in the weight room, you got to get in the gym. I'm like, when's the last time you've been in the weight room? When's the last time you've been in the gym? Like, you're telling all these kids the importance, and they're looking at you like, and you want to lean back to, well, when I was your age. Well, they don't know that. Don't know that. There's no clips. There's no, you know, they don't know, you know, what you're doing. So you got to show them to a point. Yeah,
I mean, because even in the military, you know, as a squad leader back in, I would never expect my soldiers to do anything I haven't already done. Because I have to lead by example. I have to lead from the front, because if I'm sitting there barking orders and I've never done it, what gives me the right to sit there and tell you to go do something while I don't know the first clue on how to do it? Plus, when they come for me for questions, I'm not going to have the answers to them.
Yeah, and you may have done it a while ago, but you got to do it recently. You know what I mean? Because if you say, well, I did this when I was in boot camp.
And I think even to Curtis's point, and a lot of us even, you know, we're showing up for our kids. You know, just when Ari and I come over to the church and just play some simple 21, just because she wants to work on a little bit of her craft, we have fun together. It's some one-on-one time, and I'm showing up for her, not only on the basketball court, showing her some of the skills, but hopefully that'll instill something later that she'll just, my dad will be there. I know my dad will be there.
Right. Well, it's that you go from being motivated to be motivating.
Yes.
So, you know,
that's good.
You were motivated by us, and now you're motivating her. So that lineage will hopefully just keep going and going and going.
Well, and two, like, it becomes, like we talked about before and in the book, like, discipline is a skill. So so you're constantly training it. And so at some point, not that there aren't bad days, but some days just become automatic. The good days are just automatic. The good days you don't have to think about. Where in the beginning you were constantly, consciously having to think about, don't reach for this, go to the gym, go do a walk, got to get some sleep. And those things like become what your brain is constantly thinking about. And then eventually it becomes just the norm where you can walk by the box of donuts and you don't grab one. And you don't have to think about, I'm not going to grab one. And so
you just stop and take a big whiff of them and enjoy that, and then keep on going.
Yeah, right. And so I think that's part of it, like in finding that skill, and I think 75 Hard helps with that. And we're going to be running around with a bunch of dads. We'll be taking signups at the Arnold through Facebook, building a group out starting March 10th. And I'm excited for that, because this has been the first year in 3 years that I haven't started 75 Hard in December or January. So excited for that. But been super excited every time it's like snowing and sleeting to be like, not on 75 hard. Yeah, it's so nice.
I'm gonna go run on a treadmill.
Yeah. So that's all great stuff. So then for you, kind of shifting to, because this is near and dear to my heart. So you've been to the Arnold 3 times. So now, going back and going to be working a booth, where's your mindset around that, or how do you feel around just thinking back to when you first went to now you're going to be working it for 3 days? What's the feeling there?
Well, I'm sure that you guys can attest to this, but the first time you go, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You walk in, and it's something that you're excited about, and it's like you hit the pinnacle. You walk in, and it just takes your breath away. As weird as that sounds, it really does. And you're like, you look around, you try to take it all in, and you realize you're not going to take this all in. You're going to have 15 minutes of memory of going in there and being like, wow, this is amazing. And then as the day goes on, it starts to fade because you're like, I don't remember what I've done, who I've met, who I've seen, those kind of things. So hopefully, like this time, it'll be one of those like more relaxed, you can take it in and still be excited about, pressing you guys' message to everybody, hoping the best for you guys and helping out in that manner. But this time it'll be a little bit more relaxed, I think. So I'll be able to take it more in because each time builds up and builds up. And this time, hopefully it'll just be, a lot calmer. But at the same time, you'll have the excitement of like, oh man, we're at an actual booth in this now, and people are going to stop and talk to us.
Yeah.
I think that Friday is going to be that whirlwind.
Yeah.
I don't remember what happened.
Yeah.
We're going to wake up Saturday and be like, what did we do yesterday? Like,
Right.
It's just going to be all so new. And then Saturday, I think we'll be in our groove Saturday.
Yeah.
But when you and I went, so it's kind of changed. When you and I went, they didn't have the 1 hour VIP, or at least we didn't use it. Now there's that 1 hour from like 8 to 9 or whatever that you get in early before everybody else and go get all your free goodies.
Yeah, it feels like Grand Theft Auto. I'm just
you're
looting. I'm just out there looting.
grab, go.
Yeah, grab and go. So that was where we always, the last couple of years, it's just been like, all right, it's a free for all for the first hour, and then you try to settle in and revisit and kind of take it all in. But yeah, to your point, like I said, I'm hoping Saturday will be our day where we kind of take everything in, like this is what we're doing. Because I think Friday is just going to be so new for all of us. Because like I said, we've all been there. We've all seen everything that's there. But again, everything is new every year. And to be able to just kind of soak it in and be like, until Gronk shows up.
That's
then,
that's what I'm really looking forward to. Whenever whoever sent that, I mean, I was just like, and we're going to be super close to that main stage, close enough to where. And I really do have a feeling Gronk's going to buy a bundle. And he's going to give it to
I'd have to get some bigger shirts.
Yeah, I'll say. That's what I was wondering. I'm like, well,
he said on his
kids.
podcast he only wears free shirts. Like he only
Free?
wears, free shirts.
Well, he's going to
he's
get one
free
free. He's
shirt.
going to buy the
we'll
other.
give him one.
Sorry, Gronk, but you're going to fork out some cash.
we got some 2X. They're not.
Yeah, he'll be all right.
He'll be all right. And he's a smaller guy now. He's
He's a medium.
Oh yeah.
and we've made it to football.
Hey, that lasted
58 weeks.
Yeah, that's right. 58 weeks.
There's a culmination with that number, I believe, isn't there?
Oh yeah, my jersey number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on hanging on the wall. 58. You know.
In a couple places.
You know.
Yeah. Humble.
Yeah.
Humble himself.
Yeah.
a
The
bit.
crazy thing is, like, the listeners can't see the jersey on the wall, but we had these Adidas. They are the worst jerseys in the world. Okay, that jersey went over 309, baby. Like
Not
it was
310.
ridiculous. You want to know why sinners have crop tops? It's not a fashion statement. It's just when you've got really tight material, it has to find a place to go, and typically it just rolls up. Like so, it's not a fashion statement. It's like there's nowhere for this. Like there's nowhere for it to go. And the shoulder pads are the only thing keeping it from popping off the top of your head. So yeah, but yeah, episode 58, love it.
But we'll switch it back over here to Curtis a little bit.
Yeah.
About football talk. So in your journey here, I mean, has your family kind of just noticed even a change in just your overall mindset just your overall just drive at all, and just kind of they talk to you about how proud they are?
Yeah, I get it's funny when you feel like you're alone and you know you're not, but you feel it. Mm-hmm. So then, it started with, Vince and Chuck, and then it become my kid just being like, wow, what are you doing today? Mm-hmm. Oh, well, I'm gonna go for my walk, and then I'm gonna go to the gym, and then realizing you can't sacrifice the time, with her. So then it's like, okay, so then I'm doing them on my lunches. Mm-hmm. But she noticed first, I would say, then my wife started to notice, and then my wife's family, and then my family, and you still get the you look great, you look all of this stuff from where you were, but at the same time, I'm one of those guys, as Vince will tell you, that doesn't do a lot for me. I'm not where I want to be, so I kind of shun the, oh, well, you look great kind of things. But at the same time, it's nice to hear, but I like to try to compartmentalize that and remember, hey, this is why you're doing it.
Yeah.
You want to talk about competitive? I mean, it could be a game of 21, a game of pickleball, whatever. We'd be playing Mario Kart on the 60, whatever. This guy, like, when it comes to competition, like, it goes to a different level. And
so that brings up a good point. So I was thinking about this 75 hard. So we've got our, the crew that's done 75 hard a few times. And you guys can shoot this idea down really fast.
Okay.
But I like competition too. So
I'm in.
You got an Apple Watch?
I do.
Do you Adam, you got one?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about
Yeah.
We're going to take these 75 days and see who can log the most exercise minutes.
Oh, the 45 minutes.
well,
No, I mean, yes. But
you can
go
a
over
minimum
that.
of 45.
It's a minimum. So we got to see who in 75 days can log the most tracked minutes on an Apple Watch.
You know we're going to lose, right?
Why?
Because Jackrabbit over here can go run for
That's fine.
2 hours and be like,
hey,
I'm good.
Hey, I'm a day behind in half marathon training because I was in the nursery for 4 weeks and can't stop getting sick. I'm gonna geez, terrible. But anyway, my thought was there's got to be a competition side just in us, like the group.
Yeah,
like we want them just to complete 75 hard, but and it doesn't have to be exercise minutes. We got to find something like
tangible.
What can we track? Like a little Sober October challenge, like where we see who can log the most. Maybe it's the heart rate, like who can keep their heart rate within a certain area for the most minutes a day or something.
So maybe
like
every week we just have a different challenge. Even.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, there you go. I like that. So we'll have to figure that out. But maybe we throw that challenge in the group and see if
weekly.
See if we get smoked by. See if we get
smoked
by Mike or somebody.
There's somebody out there. I guarantee you that's.
Yeah, you got all the long time listeners. You got Mike Fleming and Cody and all those guys and our buddy from across the pond. Shout out. Man, I wish I could think you. I think it's Andrew. I'm sorry, man. I apologize. I think you're Andrew. If you're not Andrew, I'm going to correct it next week. But he messaged me and said, what are some things I need to be doing to prepare for 75 hard? Yeah. I'm starting with you guys on March 10th.
Awesome.
Like you got him. So we're covering. He's over there in Glastonbury maybe. I don't know. What? Anyway, he's holding it down. He's holding it down for us. Yeah, something like that. So again, I apologize. You're talking to a bunch of CTE having dudes. They're trying to remember names from
at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, baby. So shout out our brother across the pond. But so finding ways to add competition will be great. Because that's kind of where
it could be really good or it could be really bad.
Oh, there'll be some really bad weeks. Like I'm already thinking like we can do like a mileage week. We can do like a weight week. Like it'll be good.
Will our 75 run into Memorial Day?
Yes.
Close.
Yes. We end like April 3rd or something like that. No. March 10th. March 10th. April 10th, 30 days. Like May 10th, 60 days. So then you got to get 15 past May. So it'll be Memorial Day weekend.
It'll be close.
No, it'll end Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we'll end with the Murph. That's the challenge. Who can win the Murph? Oof. Oh, it'll be like the CrossFit Games episode where people were dying.
Especially if we can get some people here
Oh,
a
we
lot to
will.
compete.
Yeah, that'll be good.
10
And
to
we might
15
use
people.
we might have to use the high school, which is fine.
It's fine. I know
Yeah.
the PD uses
Yeah,
it.
we could just jump in with them because we
Okay.
just don't have enough pull-up bars.
Well, and I think this group, even the 75 hard group, it kind of circles back to what Curtis you were saying with with you and Vince and everybody that's even listened to the podcast. But you saw something within yourself. You didn't like what you saw, and then there was accountability there with your brothers. Like you said, there's a difference between having friends and brothers, and you kind of died to self, and you didn't let your pride overtake all the thing. You didn't let the pity party sink in. Like, you saw something, you didn't like it, you counted on your brothers to kind of help guide you and pull you, and then whenever you got strong enough, you started pulling the cart, because then we talk about the ebbs and flows, valleys, peaks and valleys and stuff, because that's the green lights, the red lights. We've all four have had them. We've all had to lift each other up. So as your journey kind of has progressed and you've gotten stronger both mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, what would you say to somebody that you work with, or is there anyone in your family you've had a conversation with, even maybe with your own kid, of like what it takes for? So I guess the question is, what would you say to them to kind of help push them and guide them on a journey on something that maybe they're struggling with?
First off, I would say I read a quote that said, "First, find God,
Yeah.
then
Amen.
you find yourself."
Great
So I would
message.
say, first, try to fix your relationship with Him. After you find your relationship with Him, with or without Him, whatever you choose, then go to yourself. Then find yourself, and then you're able to motivate others. So once you find the first two, everything else just seems to go along with the journey that I've been on. Pat Summitt said, "You can't be the most talented person in the room every time, but you can be the most competitive," which Vince was talking about. So I've lived that since I was, 5 years old. So, but yeah, Vince has probably seen me flip a table over with Monopoly before. But anyway,
I mean,
We better not play any board games in Ohio.
I'm talking like fun cookout volleyball games, and he's like, "That was it. I swear it was."
Yep.
hey, you
Dang it.
you can love to win, but you have to hate to lose.
That's
Even
right.
more. You
Yeah,
gotta
that's
hate
the
to
thing.
lose.
I don't like to win. I hate to
Hate
lose.
lose.
Yeah, it's not the winning that's like the winning is expected. The losing is just like
I
it's
don't
bad.
remember most wins. I remember
all the
majority
losses,
of losses.
and I had a lot
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's so funny though. Like I hate like youth group nights. Like kids, like they don't understand. Like when we go to Florida, there's a volleyball tournament, and like I gotta like remember that like I'm here, like sharing the gospel and
Yeah.
Christ's love with these kids, because we go to volleyball against all these other churches, and I'm like, listen, we are locked in. Like we are not gonna lose to these kids. Like they're
Yeah.
you see them over there laughing and having fun. We're not here to
No.
have fun. We're here to win, and then it's fun.
Yeah.
And these
For
these
2
like,
hours.
and these like freshman girls are like, what is he talking about?
He's over
Is
there
this
like,
is this a mirror?
Yeah,
that's-
oh, I
that
hate it.
sounds
Yeah.
that sounds so
Yeah, there
familiar.
was a bad situation the last time we went to Florida. So you could have one leader on the court at all times. Well, we've got Justice, who's like 6'4". He was a college athlete. And so I was like, I'm stepping back. I'm just going to coach. You're the leader that's in. We'll put the kids in. Well, he served like 8 straight aces. And the leader on the other side was like, how about we get somebody else in? Like, let somebody, and this is a competition.
Yeah.
And I said, how about you stop it? And then I like swallowed my words. It was like just immediate. I was like, oh crap, that was not the right thing to say. I'm so sorry. And then I was like, okay, we'll get somebody
Yeah.
else in. So then I put in our girl that plays volleyball. And then she got 3 more aces. And then they were like, we forfeit. And I was like, went and apologized to the guy. And he was like, no, I get it. And I'm like, I shouldn't have. But in the it was one of those
Yeah.
things that like it just like came out. He was like, why don't you stop it?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, that was not good. I'm sorry, but yeah, competition. That's awesome. I love it. So
it brings the best and it brings the worst
Oh, yeah.
out in all of us.
yeah, oh yeah,
True colors typically come out
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
nice heated game.
yep. Vince knows all too well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, why do you think I did that extra 10 pounds last week? Just because I can't let you win. And
Oh yeah, well I meant from the coaching side, like as a ref, like I gotta chill out sometimes, which I'm working on. I'm helping with FCA, and I was convicted. We had the Trey, who Adam will be in FCA soon, so he'll be my right hand guy. He was like, I said something about refs, and he's like, do you talk to the refs? I was like, yeah. He's like, why? He's like, they're just doing their job. I was like, oh crap. He's like, is that a good example for the other kids? And I was like, well, I go up and talk. We've got good rapport. I don't think it's bad. And he was like, you should really look at that. And I was like, dang it. It's not good. But I don't think I'm a bad
Trey.
one. You don't have a problem with me.
No.
I'm not a problem child.
No, unless you're walking on the track when you're not supposed to be.
That was year one. I didn't know the rules.
Yeah. Liar. Because as soon as I turned around, you were like, oh.
Yeah, you get that feeling like there's something not right, and then you turn around. There's Colton's 25 yards off the coach's line.
Yeah, until this year I've figured out my secret. I'm gonna get a big hat and a trumpet, and I'm gonna be like, I'm in the band. Don't worry, you can't find me. It's gonna be like, where's Waldo on goal line situations.
That's funny.
But no, I think what Curtis was saying, that going back to that feeling of like isolation. I think we've all experienced it. It is meant, and I think the hardest part is, at least it was for me, and I go back there at times, is like trying to pull yourself out without anyone knowing that you're in it.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest part is life can be really good. Like, what do I have to feel sad about? Like, why? Why do I feel this way? And you sit there and you go through your day and you put on the face, and then you just get home and you're just like, you put on the face again, and then you just lay in bed and you're like, gosh, I hate everything about right now. And it's hard to pull yourself out of that, but I think what you said is so important. It's not just for people that don't have faith. I think it hits people that have a strong faith in God too. But you got to get back to centering yourself around, what is my purpose, and then am I really in relationship with my Creator? Like, because He knows what He created each one of us for, and the purpose, and what we're supposed to look like, and all those things. And I just love that David Goggins quote about getting to heaven and seeing that picture of like 185 podcaster, and you're like, what is all this? And he's like, oh, that was the plan for you, but instead, you were 309, video games, junk food, didn't care for your wife the way you're supposed to, all those things. And you're like, man, now there's grace still, there's still grace, there's forgiveness and mercy, and praise God for that, because we don't have to achieve those things to receive the eternal life. But it is that wake up call of like, man, I wasted my time. And so I think that's a big motivator, but it doesn't always help in those moments of isolation. No. So I think you got to have people that you can open up to and say, hey, even if it's just sometimes it helps. Like for me, when I was going through that, like I would say a year ago or so, and just reached out to somebody that I didn't even know, just because I wanted somebody that didn't know me. Yeah. Like, just wanted to tell somebody that I knew wouldn't see me different. Like, there's that pride issue of like, all right, there's this guy that I know I can reach out to, and he's going to help me. Like, he's a godly dude. He cares, but he doesn't know me. So, like, he's not going to, I don't see him every day. He's not going to, So I think finding somebody, whether it be a brother or a family member or 4 dudes on a podcast that you don't know, that you can just, because sometimes just saying it helps. Just to say, hey, I really don't want to do anything today. And so I think that's an important skill to have, to say, hey, I can't do this right now. And I just need to tell somebody. And sometimes just saying it's the part that helps. Because sometimes you just keep it in so long, you're like, it's not even real, until you just tell somebody, and then you're like, okay, good, I wrote all that out, that's really good. Now I can move on.
So obviously yesterday was Valentine's Day, and so Kelsey and I, we do our own journals, and we write, we swap, and we write our Valentine's Day note in their journal, so that way whenever they go back.
Easy, Liz is listening.
Yeah, well.
She was real upset about the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Oh, I know. I know. Well, she can get over it. But I've had that same conversation with my Kelsey about, I know there's things I'm good at. Right. I know my own personality. I know certain things, but I don't know how to. One, there's fear of failure. There's fear of just not knowing everything because I overanalyze, and so I don't do stuff because I've overthought it. Mm-hmm. And so I've asked her those questions of like, what am I good at? Like, what can I do? Well, then, of course, she writes in this journal yesterday of just all the things that I am really good at. And like she's able to articulate just and be able to process. Like, so as I'm reading this, like there's just confidence building inside of me. But then also like my point to all this is ask somebody, you know, those type of questions to them because you're going to get, you know, an honest answer.
Yep.
You know, now granted, you're opening yourself up. It's constructive criticism, obviously, but like I'm not going to take it as personal from her because I know she's coming out of a place of love. And I know that, and if I take that stuff on, I know she's going to help me succeed in that. And I've done the same thing with her because I'm like, you're really good at so many things. You just have to have a little bit more belief in some of the things that you're trying to do because I see all this in you and you sell yourself short because you look at yourself a lot differently than what I do.
Yeah.
And I see you a lot, I look at you a lot higher than you look at yourself. So we've got to get you up here where I'm at because when you get to where I'm at, you're really gonna take off. It's just we have to make those steps and strides to get there together because obviously, like, you know, it says in the Bible, you know, we got to yoke ourselves together with one common purpose in mind, and that's Him. So yeah, just, you know, for the listeners out there, if you feel like you're in a spot where you don't quite know what it is that you need, or go to somebody and ask them, hey, go to a stranger, hey, what do you seen me? What do you think I'd be good at? You know, because that's the only way you're going to grow.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And on your hard days, always remember that you're good at being you.
Right.
When it comes down to it,
Yeah.
you think about it in your own mind and say, hey, I'm just good at being me. Yeah. You know, some days you don't get to hear like what Adam said. You don't hear, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. But on those hard days, if you can look in the mirror and just say, I'm good at being me, sometimes that's just enough to get you through until you get to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny because you say that, like looking in the mirror, listening to 50 Cent's book this week at work and whatnot, and he said when he starts to struggle, he has a mantra, you know, and it's simple, doesn't have to be long. His is just, I am, and he just repeats it, I am, and then he just finds that peace within himself, and just, but you know, back to what you guys were saying, like. We all have those gifts, talents, and abilities. You know what yours are. It takes somebody else sometimes to see that extra. Like, you've got this, but you don't see it. And if you do go ask somebody, just make sure when you're going to ask that you're going to be open to, like you said, receive what they say. Because sometimes it may not be like, hey, you're really good at this. You think you're good at this part, but really you're better over here.
Your strength's over there,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you guys spoke it so well there, like the idea that, you know, sometimes it's okay to not be good at certain things because you've got different skills. Like, for me, I am not mechanically inclined. And if I was placing my worth on being mechanically inclined, like, I would be like, Vince is the GOAT. And I'm never going to live up to Vince, and I can't be like Vince. And I but you got to realize that, like, our strengths are different. So, like, that's such a cool thing that Vince has that I'll never have. So, like, instead of comparing it, just celebrating it, you know, like Adam being a runner. Like, I'm never going to be a runner. Like, I can do all the things, but I will never be a runner. But why would I compare myself to Adam when I can just celebrate Adam's skills and strengths? Because I've got my own that I have to press into. And so I think that's sometimes, like, where you get on as dads, like, well, they're really, you know, they're really this, they're really that. I'll never be like that. Well, that's okay. You're not supposed to be.
Comparison is a thief of joy.
Right.
Exactly what I was
So,
thinking.
like, that's, because, I mean, I'll be honest, so there's been times like, man, I wish I could, you know, like, the promo for, hey, by the way, you know, we got another book signing today, but just trying to do a promo for the book signing today. Like, I know I can do it. I need practice. But you're watching you articulate the words in such a short span of time, it's like, wow, that's impressive.
You don't want.
But I love that because it's like, one, I know I can get there.
Yes.
And two, I enjoy listening to you speak because of how you say the words and how you fit everything. And it's like, man, that's a true gift that I really appreciate for you.
But I mean, go back and listen to you episode 1.
Yeah. I mean,
Like, or me or Vince, any of us.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't something that we're just naturally good at. You know, it's something that you grow and it's a skill. Go back and look at anything that you did the first time versus the 58th.
Yeah, right.
well, we all bring different things to the table. You know, so like perfect example, we're getting ready to go on this adventure to Ohio. You've been the lead, taking care of coordinating it all, but getting there when it comes to setup and whatnot, it's going to be somebody else.
Yep.
And so together we all make a whole. Like individually, we can't do it by ourselves, but together as the 3, 4, 5, however many, we'll make the full circle and we will succeed at whatever we do. You with one leg, for example, if you have a 3-legged dog, it can still run.
Yeah.
It's not going to run as fast as a 4-legged dog,
Right.
but
Right.
together everything is just that much better.
And to speak on that as an outsider of, just a listener, that's the greatest thing about you guys is everybody has their own strength. You can hear it through the podcast. Like you're better together than you are apart, and it's neat to see how Colton and Vince and Adam all bring different aspects and skills to it. So it's good to have the brotherhood and to build off of that. So it really is nice to see, like you said, from episode 1 till now, how much every one of you have grown and how much the cohesiveness that you guys all have together now.
No, it's just the equipment. We haven't changed it all. It's just the equipment. Yeah, it's perfect. So, but yeah, guys, I'm super excited. We'll talk more next week on kind of the thoughts on the Arnold and kind of what that means. Like, we kind of touched on it with Curtis, but kind of for each one of us, because I'm excited. It's been, a weird, stressful, like odd feeling for the last 3 months in preparing for it, just with my background a little bit and what that's meant to me. So whether we go there and it's a great thing or we go there and we fail miserably, just being there is going to be super cool and getting to meet people and kind of share the message. Excited for that, but appreciate everybody that's listening to the podcast. Appreciate everybody that's getting ready to sign up for 75 Hard.
Yes.
March 10th. Throwing it back to the OG. Dads do 75 hard. That's what it's gonna be. That's what it's gonna be. I mean, that's how it started. That's what it's gonna be. So we'll throw it back to the start of all this, and then that'll lead into the next 12 episodes, starting with episode 61. Will be us talking about doing 75 hard again. So we'll be over a year out. So excited about that. But now it's time to go smoke Curtis's legs.
Yeah.
So it's time to go get this workout in, baby.
Yeah. Remember, guys, bundle.